Call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Mayor Randy Burke,
Here.
Commissioner Ken Gaspar,
Here.
Commissioner Darren DeVito.
Here. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, any desired changes by the commissioners on the agenda?
I will make a motion that we move new business A, proclamation recognizing the Ronald McDonald House, the week of February 9th through 15th, to the top of the agenda.
I'll second. Call the roll.
Mayor Randy Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ken Gaspar,
Aye.
Commissioner Darren DeVito.
Aye.
Okay, what that means is you don't have to sit and go through all the zoning stuff. We're going to do the proclamation right here. Okay. Be careful of cables. You can tell we just moved in over here.
It's a nice place.
Yeah, it's a nice place. Madeline, I didn't expect you to. All right, this is a proclamation designating February 9th through February 15th, 2026 as Ronald McDonald House Week. Whereas Springfield's two Ronald McDonald House programs have provided a home away from home and an invaluable source of hope and comfort for families and seriously ill and injured children who must travel far from home for medical treatment. And whereas the two Ronald McDonald Houses located in Springfield, Missouri, allow their guests to maintain close contact with their seriously ill children by providing a secure and supportive environment at no required cost. And whereas the Ronald McDonald House near Cox South and the house at Mercy Kids have served the needs of 882 Berry County families, 301 of which are residents of Monett, Missouri. And whereas the following generous contributions have provided sponsorship programs and underwritten the cost for a Share a Heart campaign, McDonald's of the Ozarks, KY3 Television, Great Southern Bank, Edwards Jones, Mid-Am Metal Forming, and Color Graphic Printing. And whereas McDonald's of Monett is a participant in the Share a Heart campaign, which will continue through February 28th, 2026. Now therefore, I, Randy Burke, Mayor of the City of Monett, do hereby proclaim February 9th through February 15th, 2026 as Ronald McDonald House Week. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a really long speech, is that okay?
Well, this is a really long,
Sorry.
lot of whereas in there.
That wasn't like, good job. Well, thank you very much. It's an honor for us to be represented here, and I love that you talked about the number of families. And it's an honor for us to serve the families in Monett, for 300 families since we started here in Monett, and there's no charge for families. There's no charge for the food, for the stay, or anything. So we're just very grateful that you let us come and that you support locally. And Edward, we have 3 financial advisors from Edward Jones here today, and they are one of our new sponsors this year. I'd love for them if they could. They don't have long speeches either. So
Okay.
I'll just if they could introduce themselves, and then Brett wants to say a few words, if that's okay. So please introduce yourself and say a few things, if you could.
I am Brett Jones, and so I just wanted to share a quick story of Ronald McDonald House, how it's affected me personally. So when my son was born, now 7 years ago, he was born on his due date, we were expecting a healthy baby, ended up spending 10 days in the NICU. And we took advantage, very, very thankful for the Ronald McDonald House in Mercy. Utilized their day passes, was able to have nice home-cooked meals. My wife really appreciated the showers. But yes, it was something that was very, very meaningful and impactful. The BOA in my office also has had experience with Ronald McDonald House and said it was one of those things for her. She was very, very appreciative and impressed by the fact that Ronald McDonald House was one of those organizations that was there for you before you knew you needed them. And really thankful for that, so
Thank you for that.
thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Madeline Miller. And I am Nikki Weber, and I appreciate, I was there and knew you going through that at that time period, and that was a big deal. And I just think we're all very blessed in this community to have community support that is so close to be able to support families who have health issues. So anyway, we're glad to be here. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we're going to move on to public comments, 3 minutes apiece. If anyone would like to come up here, if you're here about Hazel Street, you'll get a chance to talk here in a second. No public comments? Okay. Let's move on to the regular business consent agenda. Any motions on the consent agenda?
I'll move that we approve the consent agenda.
I will second.
Call the roll.
Mayor Randy Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner King Gaspar,
Aye.
Commissioner Darren Indovina,
Aye.
Okay, let's go on to old business. First item.
I move that we do a second reading and consideration of ordinance 9130.
Second.
And I thought we were going to do the reading here.
That's what he,
That was my motion, to do a second reading.
Oh, to do the second reading. I got you. Okay. Do the second reading, please.
second reading and consideration for approval of ordinance number 9130, an ordinance approving the rezoning of 335 West Hazel Street, Monett, Missouri.
Okay.
just for formality, let's take a vote on that second reading.
Okay. Call the roll.
Mayor Randy Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner King Gaspar,
Aye.
Commissioner Darren Indovina,
Aye. Yeah, okay. Well, all right, this item here, this is the first one that, at the last city council meeting, and it appears to me that, I think the facts are, original application to rezone one lot on Hazel Street was submitted first in 2021. Okay, and then it left what was then Boca, now Community Development. It went to planning and zoning at some point and was approved by planning and zoning, and then for some reason never got approved by the board. And in the meantime, we went ahead and changed the GIS map. Is that correct?
That's correct. In other words, the council never actually voted on the rezoning application, which means that it did not officially happen, but there was an error in that it was actually changed without that approval on the GIS map.
Okay.
So the error was able to continue on without the official approval that it needed to be official.
Okay, so by our vote tonight, we can go back and we can change it if we deny.
Yes, you can do anything. You can either deny, you can approve, you can also recommend that the proposal be returned to P&Z for another hearing. It's completely up to the council.
Okay, I haven't looked at this. This looks like spot zoning. Even looking at it on the map, I agree there's some contiguous, but it looks like spot zoning. So we really have three options. We'd say yes and go ahead and do it, which wouldn't make any sense to me. Because we've got other stuff on our agenda about clearing up spot zoning. And so the second option is to send it back to planning and zoning. And the third option is to say no right now, deny the petition, and the builder can resubmit an application.
Absolutely.
If they want to.
What would occur is it would start over. The
Yeah.
thing is that the decision to deny or approve would, regardless tonight, actually fix the error in the GIS map.
I got
So
it.
that is
I
a
understand.
critical understanding.
Okay. I think I understand it. Go ahead.
There's a public hearing to this, so we need to open it up to public hearing.
Okay, anyone want to talk about Hazel Street? I see some familiar faces. Yes, sir, if you come up here.
Is the microphone right now?
It is, I turned it on.
Hi, my name is Stephen Bergeron. I live on 328 Hazel. We bought the property 4 years ago, almost exactly 4 years ago. And one of the things that appealed to me about the property was the fact that it was a quiet residential street of single-family homes. I take my grandchildren walking up and down the street. I like the fact that it's low traffic, it's quiet, and We have a mature group of people living there that all seem to be, know each other and get along well. And I really hate to see the character of the neighborhood change by introducing a multifamily development there. And I would really like the city to vote no on this so that we can remain as a single-family street. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Would anyone else like to come and speak about Hazel Street?
Well, my name's Lynn Lowe, and I'm one lot east of the lot, 333 Hazel. And I've lived there 55 years. When my first husband and I bought that house, there was only 3 houses on that street. But over the years, they all filled in, and that lot had a house on it till, it's probably been 20 years that that house burnt down. I'm not sure, but there was a house there that burnt down. But there's 5 widows that live on that street. There's 1 widower. There's 1 elderly family and 1 elderly lady, and a younger guy that has 4 kids. And I guess we got grandkids and stuff too. But I've always felt safe there until my husband passed away last year. And I, kind of got a little uneasy. But all the duplexes and the fourplexes and the 2-story apartment, they all pretty well stay over there on that side. They hardly ever even drive around. Every once in a while, there might be a couple that walk around, But I just feel like we wouldn't feel as safe, with the multiple home there. So.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, I think we're willing to entertain motions.
Anyone else?
Didn't see anyone else. Okay. I'd like to move that we deny the petition for the rezoning of the 1 lot. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
That's your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay. Second?
Okay?
So the motion is to deny.
Deny.
Correct.
That means we're not going to change the zoning to multi.
It'll die.
What's that?
It'll die.
I'm just used to motions being in positive and you vote against.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah, I feel a negative tonight. I got a hammer in my hand.
But so we're clear, you're voting to deny this motion
Yes.
completely.
Correct. Okay, I'm going to first and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Randy Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ken Gaspar,
Aye.
Commissioner Darren DeVito.
Aye.
Now, for you, those of you who are here for Hazel Street, we're not going to talk about Hazel Street anymore tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, next item.
Thanks for coming.
Next item, please.
I move that we have a second reading for ordinance number 9124.
Second?
Call the roll.
Mayor Randy Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ken Gaspar, Commissioner Darren DeVito.
This is the ordinance to establish the Monett Regional Airport Commission. Council approved the first reading. It's obviously a second reading. We'd need to open it up to public comment if there's any.
Okay, we have any motions on ordinance 9124?
I'll move that we approve ordinance 9124.
And I'll second it.
Okay, now discussion. If you're out here and you'd like to know about the airport board, it is expanded from 5 to 7. The extra 2 members, a representative of Berry County and someone from Lawrence County. And we need to get the name of the Lawrence County. It wasn't on It's John Millsap. Is it on there now?
Yep.
Okay, as long as we got that. But it also has different disciplines on there, and the focus is not just Monett, the focus is regional. So, any other discussion from the commissioners?
I have none.
No.
Okay, call the roll.
Did we do the second reading?
Not yet.
Okay.
Do the second reading. I'm not sure why we're going through every second reading and saying,
Well, you have to have a motion for the second reading, it has to pass, and then you read the second reading. And
okay, just second reading, please.
Second reading and consideration for approval of ordinance number 9124, an ordinance to establish the airport commission for the city of Monett with service to the Monett Regional Airport.
And there's a motion.
Wait a minute.
We've already done the motion
Yep.
and the second. So let's call a roll.
Public comment?
Yep.
Any public comments? It's a second reading.
Here's.
Question, do the remaining 5 people, are they all already serving on the commission, or do you have new faces that you're bringing on?
Some are former members and some are brand new. And the ordinance had to pass, and then under new business will be the resolution to appoint, if council approves that, the 7 members of that commission.
Call the roll.
Mayor Randy Burt.
Yes.
Commissioner King Esper.
Aye.
Commissioner Darren DeVito.
Aye.
Okay, once it passes, let's go on to item C.
Move that we do a second reading for ordinance 9125.
I'll second.
Call the roll.
Mayor Randy Burt.
Yes.
Commissioner King Esper.
Aye.
Commissioner Darren DeVito.
Aye.
Okay.
Second reading and consideration for approval of ordinance number 9125, an ordinance approving the historic downtown Monett redevelopment plan.
Okay, this is 353.
Yes, and if there's public comment, we could take public comment, and then Lindsay Polish is with us tonight. She's our attorney representing Chapter 353, and she's going to walk you through some of the dynamics about this ordinance.
Okay, let's go through the description
Okay.
first, and then we'll ask for public comments.
Okay.
Let's do that first.
Okay,
So go ahead.
sounds good. Okay, and then Mike, I had a presentation too. Is that getting pulled up?
No.
No? Okay, that's fine. Okay, no big deal. So, okay, good evening. Like Mickey just said, I'm Lindsay Kolish. We serve as city attorney, but also as Special Economic Development Counsel, and that's why I'm here tonight and not Holly. But she will be involved with this project too if it passes, so she's familiar with it, and we'll both be supporting the city if we do approve this program. So, like we said, we're here tonight on the historic downtown Monett 353 redevelopment plan. So just taking a quick step back onto 353s in general so that we all know and have a basis of what we are talking about tonight. So Chapter 353 is a property tax abatement tool. It is not a new tax, and it is not a tool that would utilize like eminent domain or anything like that. It is entirely optional for people to participate if they choose to do so. And I say Chapter 353, that is because it is Chapter 353 of the Revised Statutes of Missouri. It is a statutorily based incentive that gives us some parameters, and then we can expand upon those in the redevelopment plan. So that's where we are right now, is that we have the redevelopment plan, and that will provide some basic parameters to what sort of investment is required and what type of projects are available to utilize this program. After the redevelopment plan is approved, if it is approved, then there will be a board of directors who administers the plan, and they can expand on the redevelopment plan a little bit and supplement it. I mentioned that property owners have the option to participate. There is a redevelopment area that we will discuss, but property owners have the ability to participate if they want to. There's no requirement, and of course people can still do different development in the area if they want to. They don't have to take advantage of this plan. Oh, and I'm sorry, I need to just have one small motion. You guys first read this in January, and since then we have completed the legal description and the boundaries of the plan, and also included the tax abatement impact analysis. So if I could get a motion to approve the amended redevelopment plan, it didn't change very much at all, just added some supplemental information in there. So if you could approve the amended redevelopment plan with this ordinance.
And we do have to amend it in our packet tonight.
I believe it is.
Okay. And what was the change amendment?
We added the legal description of the property and
Thank you.
and formally have a slightly amended boundaries of the plan that just kind of include some properties, but that is just the official description of the plan. And then it also includes a tax impact analysis, and so that information is all put in there now for you guys to review.
I will move that we accept the amended redevelopment plan.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mayor Randy Burke.
Yes.
Commissioner Ken Gaspar.
Aye.
Commissioner Darren Devena.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so now getting into the specifics of the plan, and you can see the boundaries there on the screen. Very generally, it is Central Ave there on the east, and then 13th Street on the west, and Bond Street and Front Street to the north and south. And so that area is generally, I think, known as historic downtown Monett. And of course, included in that area is also the historic Monett district that is part of the National Historic Services, or Historic Places. And of course, any properties that have that historic designation have to go through additional requirements and additional things for redevelopment. This redevelopment plan was created with the assistance of the Downtown Monett Redevelopment Plan Committee, which had some political leaders, business owners, and also developers who kind of got together and decided what kind of investment is appropriate, how much money do people spend on redevelopment projects, and what kind of development and incentive and investment do we want to see in this area. The redevelopment plan includes a lot of different goals, but they are all very similar in that the goals of the plan are to encourage the development of a walkable arts and culture district where people want to get out and move around. And there's already the downtown park down there, but this could improve on that and show and have more farmers markets, different cultural events, different festivals, and that's really what the goal of this plan is to have more of a vibrant area there in historic downtown Monett. And then of course the other goal is also to make sure that the development that does occur blends in with the historical nature of the district. We're not creating a modern, brand new district down here. We want to expand upon and rely upon the historic areas that are already there. And then I did mention that, of course, the properties with historic designations would have to go through any requirements on the state level and federal level that they just have to do because of historic designations. And then also any development that occurs in the area will still have to go through regular city processes, still follow city codes, all of that stuff. We're not waiving anything or varying anything from city code. It's just that if you choose to develop, you would receive some tax abatement here. Okay, so any questions before we get into what the investment levels are? No? Okay. Let me just pull this up. Okay. So one thing I want to explain before we get into the numbers is that the way that this program works, you have a base tax value that you are currently spending on your property. Hopefully, you take advantage of this program, you improve your property, and then your assessed valuation goes up. So then you have more taxes that are taxed on your property. That base value will still continue to be paid to taxing jurisdictions. That's what's referred to as a pilot, a payment in lieu of tax. So all taxing jurisdictions will still receive that base value, but then what will be abated in varying levels that we'll talk about in just a minute, but that incremental increase is what will actually be abated. So for the first option, we have residential properties. And residential properties, and I'm sorry, I'll say, when I say residential properties or commercial properties, I mean the tax classification as determined by Berry County. So that is just what we will go with as to whether your property is commercial or residential. There's sometimes questions about short-term rentals, and we're just focused on what does the assessor say your property is. And if you disagree, you can take that up with them, but that's not what we're doing here. So for residential properties, there are not very many in the district, but what the offering would be for residential properties is that the investment, you are required to make a $10,000 investment or more, but there's no max, but at least $10,000. And for that, you would receive property tax abatement in either the amount of the improvements or 10 years of that incremental increase of tax abatement, whichever one comes first. So generally for residential projects, people would only receive up to that $10,000 investment or less. And of course they will still have to pay the payments in lieu of taxes on the base value. There is also a requirement that 50% of the improvements that are made are to be exterior improvements. And that's because 353 is a blight remediation tool. We want you to use it to remediate blight. So we see blight from the public right-of-way, and that is where we want that to be remediated. Generally, projects should come up to code and to remediate the blight. We don't really want to approve a project that replaces the back wall of the building, but not the front half. We really need the whole thing at once. And so that requirement it has a little asterisk with it with the redevelopment plan, because we generally require 50% exterior improvements, but of course properties vary property to property, project to project, and some things it may not be appropriate to require those 50% exterior improvements. Maybe they've already completed those improvements. So that allows the board of directors a little bit of flexibility with each different project, just because every project will be different.
And is the 50% of the dollar value or?
Yes, it would be the dollar value, yes. And I should say too, when we talk investment, that is labor, materials. If you do your own work, DIY, we would value that at the prevailing wage at the time of the work you're doing, so that you can still count your own labor. But of course, you can hire people. You can do whatever you need. It can be a full development project, or it can be your DIY window replacements. But that will be, all of those funds are included in that investment. So that is residential properties, and then we will go to commercial properties. So for commercial properties, we have a couple different levels of tiers of abatement, particularly because there are so many different types of buildings and different types of projects that could happen for residential properties. So for the first tier is a requirement of at least $15,000 up to $25,000. And for that one, it is very similar to residential. You will receive abatement either for 10 years or for the cost of your improvements that you put in. And those also still will have the pilots of that base value and that 50% exterior requirement. For tier 2, you would invest $25,000 to $150,000. And that one you would get, we're taking out now the value of your improvements. So here, for tier 2, you would receive 100% tax abatement for 10 years on that property. And it would be that incremental increase again. And of course, you would still pay the pilots and would still have the 50% exterior requirement as well. For tier 3, we start to ratchet up the years of abatement. So we're still at that 100% tax abatement on the incremental increase, and that would be for 15 years total. And that investment requirement would be $150,000 to $750,000. For tier 4, the highest amount of tier we have, that would be projects over 750,000. And for here, you would receive 100% tax abatement for 20 years. And then, of course, still have the payment in lieu of tax requirement and the 50% exterior requirement.
I have a question about all of those tiers.
Okay.
It states in there that it's on the incremental increase on the assessed value of land.
Yes, and so, and that was me just simplifying it. So the way that the 353 program is structured is that there's 2 different phases. And so it applies to the land and to the real property for one section, and then the land and the real property for a different section of years. So that's why you see in there the 10 years and then 10 years after that. That's the 2 different phases. And yes, you would receive abatement on the land value and on the structures that are on your property. That would be it.
And so the assumption is that all that gets worked out in some, I'll say, a worksheet form for the property owner, so they understand which portion.
That they're in, yes, yes, yes. And they would, it can change as the project moves along and also can change project to project, but very generally, they would pay pilots to the county and then the county would distribute them amongst the taxing jurisdictions. We talked to Berry County, of course, and they seemed very much able to work with us on this. It is a little bit of Chapter 353 is one of the oldest incentives around, and the statutes read a little weird, so different counties interpret them different ways. But ideally, we would be able to see on each assessment record the different values between the land and the improvements. You should be able to, and even if it doesn't come on your property tax receipt, the county should have that information that we can then receive, because that will be important for us to know exactly how much abatement they will receive.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, and just one quick note too, on vacant lots or on demolitions, those are still eligible to participate, but of course they still have to, whatever that new construction is has to match the historical nature of the area. The plan committee in particular talked about, you know, a big 120 unit apartment complex doesn't really fit in. But maybe, like for example, I live in Kansas City in a 6-plex apartment unit that was built in 1920. Maybe that fits in a little bit more. Those kinds of things may fit better. And of course, they were also considering having residential units on top of a lot of the buildings in downtown Monett, but also allowing commercial on that street level, hopefully encouraging people to live and play in that area.
And this commission provides that approval, right? The property owner submits their intention.
Yes.
And the 353 commission is the one that's approving that particular project.
Yes.
It's actually called corporation.
Yes. So if this redevelopment plan is approved tonight, or I'm sorry, in 2 weeks, we would then create the Urban Redevelopment Corporation, which is a corporation just like any other in the state. And then that corporation would be governed by a 5-member board of directors that the mayor would appoint with the commission's consent. And so those 5 members will be the ones who are really working on the day-to-day of the program. And when I say day-to-day, I really mean month to month. They won't be every day at meetings. We typically, when I have these programs, we typically have a meeting a month, maybe twice a month if we have enough applications, or if there's, you know, if we don't have any in the start of the month, but we do have one at the end of the month, then we can meet. But those board of directors, they will have application forms. I mentioned they can supplement the redevelopment plan and add some guidelines. For example, on the exterior requirement, another one that I worked on has that exterior requirement, and somebody wanted to put in a backyard sprinkler system, and the board of directors determined that's not really an exterior improvement. That's great and we like that, but that's not exactly what we're using this program for. So those are the things that the board of directors will consider, particularly on a project by project basis. And then yes, the property owners, their projects will have to meet what we are putting in this redevelopment plan.
Is there an appeal process? Does it go from that organization to planning and zoning, or does it go planning and zoning first?
So that is something that the board of directors will work on, the appropriate body, and that is something we include. That doesn't typically happen. In general, I find that projects do meet. The biggest difficulty in meeting the project guidelines is sometimes just that investment amount that, oh, my project just isn't that expensive. But yes, there will be a process where they could appeal if they are denied. And then, of course, they will still have to get building permits, still apply, and do all of that and meet city code. So there will be, that the board of directors only meets once a month, but there is still a lot of oversight on their projects in general just because of the structure of the city. So,
Lindsay, will you typically be at those meetings?
So Holly Dodge will be the attorney representing the corporation on that. Yes,
Okay.
And they
Particularly when they get started.
Yes, and we have template applications, template guidelines. If a property owner applies and gets approved, we would enter into an abatement agreement with them, which essentially just requires them to maintain the property and keep the improvements that they made. You don't get your tax abatement if then you tear down your building. So there are things like that will be in the abatement agreement, and Holly will be assisting with that too. And I will be too. I work in the Lease Summit office, so I'm not in the Springfield area. So I will be in the background too and available for any meetings. But yes, Holly will be there with doing that day to day.
Okay.
Any other questions? I have just a few more.
One simple question, probably related to the end, I'm sorry.
No.
$25,000 application now costs $30,000. Do they have to reapply? How does that cost?
So no, and that's a good question. And we've gotten a couple questions as we've been going through this process that, oh, do I have to wait to start my project? Well, you have to meet the tier requirements. So if you start a project and you replace your windows and your door, that doesn't exclude you from this program. You just have to be able to prove some sort of other project that meets that requirement. And now if you say start at tier 1 and then move into tier 3 or something like that, that is something that I think the board of directors will have will make that determination. But my recommendation would be just that the property owner comes back to us and tells us and says, hey, I'm now here, does this still work for you, and can I still get that higher level of abatement? No reason to make them start over or anything, and you can't get more property tax abatement than is offered. There's only so much available. So I think for that scenario, it would just be them communicating to the board, hey, my project has bumped up. Could I get in that next level? So I think that would be okay. Yeah. So just one last thing that I want to hit on. I did mention earlier that Chapter 353 is a blight remediation tool. And so included in the redevelopment plan is a blight study that goes through a couple different factors of blight. Blight, as we use it for 353, is a statutory term, and it requires that the redevelopment area as a whole, not each individual property in the redevelopment area, but just as a whole, that area is an economic or social liability or a menace to the health, safety, and welfare of the public, or and that because of those conditions, it is a place that I'm sorry, I messed up that definition. I'll start over. So blight, it requires the redevelopment area to be an economic or social liability or a menace to the public health and welfare and safety due to insanitary and unsafe conditions, deterioration of site improvements, and other conditions generally in the area that endanger life and property by fire and other causes. And so there is a blight study included in your packet that goes through those different factors, and there is enough information there, in my opinion, for you to find a finding of blight. And if this ordinance is approved, that is included in the ordinance, that you would find that area is a blight. And that's why we have to make sure that people do remediate the blight. That is the whole goal of this program, is to not do half of our project, but to do the whole project and get the whole blight removed. So we talked about how the program will be administered. Any other questions, concerns? No?
All right. Do we have any comments from the audience? This is second reading, or what Lindsay has covered. It's a tax abatement for those who want to fix up the buildings downtown. That's what all this is about.
Are you going to cover?
The more you spend and the more your tax break. Anything else?
The only thing is that we are actually going to vote on approving this ordinance on the February 26th meeting date. So we won't actually take a vote today. It was just some public hearing deadlines that we had to meet. So we'll have one more public hearing on the 26th. And then yes,
Okay.
and then
So
there
it'll
will
be
be
on-
a vote.
So it'll be on the second reading, and the vote will be on
The 26th.
February 26th.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
I understand. All right, let's go on to the next item. Thank you, Lindsay. Appreciate
Yes, of
it.
course.
I've heard that speech 4 times now.
I know.
What's the next item? Okay. They have any motions on item D?
Move that we do the second reading for ordinance number 9126.
I will second.
Call the roll?
Mayor Radyberg,
Yes.
Commissioner King Gaspar,
Aye.
Commissioner Darren DeVito.
Aye.
Okay, you'll do the reading, please.
Second reading and consideration for approval of ordinance number 9126, an ordinance approving the First Amendment to Monett TIF number 3 tax increment financing plan, expanding the redevelopment area, designating the added property as a blighted area, and designating a developer.
Okay, this is for expanding the TIF to include around the airport, not, I almost did it again, the hospital, not to include the hospital and the 35 acres directly to the west. It's a great area for economic development, and we discussed last time, there's lots and lots of hoops to go through this, and we got a lot of assistance for Berry County in this case. So, is there any comments, since this is second reading, comments from the audience? Hearing none, do I have any motions on ordinance number 9126?
I'll move that we approve, excuse me, Bill 9126.
I will second.
Call the roll.
Mayor Radyberg,
Yes.
Commissioner King Gaspar,
Aye.
Commissioner Darren DeVito.
Aye.
All right, let's move down to new business, item B.
I move that we do a first reading of Bill number 9133.
Oh, sorry. Second?
Call the roll.
Mayor Radyberg,
Yes.
Commissioner King Gaspar,
Aye.
Commissioner Darren DeVito.
Aye. Mickey?
Yeah, just the only comment is this is our first reading on the budget for the 26-27 fiscal year. We will cover in our work session on 2/26 any other questions that you might have about the budget. And then just want to encourage council, as you've now read through this and you've passed the first reading, or we've done the first reading, if you need to come and meet with staff, we encourage you to do that, finance director, myself.
Have there been any changes since the workshop? Significant changes?
Not any significant changes.
Well, that's the packet you released to us last week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, none since that.
None since that.
Right.
Okay, and that's since the budget workshop. Okay, makes sense.
All right. So we'll still have an opportunity to, on the 26th, to ask any questions, review, those kinds of things.
All right, any motions on item C?
I move that we have a first reading, Bill number 9134.
Second?
Call the roll.
Mayor Radyberg,
Yes.
Commissioner King Gaspar,
Aye.
Commissioner Darren DeVito.
Aye.
Okay, Doug, you want to take this one? Who's taking this?
Sure, absolutely. So this is the rezoning of Callan's addition. This is a very old section of the historic town site of Monett. It's roughly 100 years old. It was originally zoned industrial, and it has since in that span of time, it has largely developed into a residential neighborhood. So what we have here is a situation, as is so common in many communities in Monett as well, of effectively permitted non-conforming uses. It's an industrial zone that is being used largely as a residential. There are a few commercial and industrial users in the zone, but by moving it from industrial, which is D, to commercial, which would be C, that is effectively moving the area of Callan's addition to higher and better uses, and would effectively, basically, if it was completely rezoned, it corrects the use of the neighborhood from 43% to roughly 96%, basically being permitted conforming uses. It's moving the area to a higher and better use, and doesn't significantly affect those property owners that are already in Callan's addition. As I said before in a previous meeting, effectively the way the neighborhood is currently structured under zoning and code, if somebody's house were to burn down or they needed to make substantial changes, they would not be able to under the current zoning structure. This corrects that issue. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
If I read this properly, there's only one business that will remain an industrial business?
It would be an industrial user in a commercially zoned district, so that user would then now become permitted non-conforming. In other words, they could continue to do what they're already doing for another 100 years if they would like.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, let's go on to the next item.
I'll move that we have the first reading, the first and second reading of Bill number 9135.
Second.
Okay.
Call the roll.
Mayor Reddiver,
Yes.
Commissioner King Gaspar,
Aye.
Commissioner Darren DeVito.
Aye.
This is what we discussed in our work session. This is an ordinance for us to enter into a public service agreement with Monett Main Street for the purpose of the repair of the Freedom Silo roof replacement. There is an urgency clause in the ordinance, and the reason for that is if we can get passage of this ordinance, then the roof repair could take place in April or May. If we delay that with our specialty welder, infrastructure welder, it will be October or December before they can take on this task. It's our desire, staff desire, that if we complete this project, this would be part of our 250th anniversary of America celebration to get this project done. Freedom Silo has been displayed nationally, and it's an iconic figure here in Monett. And I believe if we can finish this task, then we will do very well.
So what I hear you're doing, you're guaranteed it'll be done by the 4th of July. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what my goal is, Mr. Mayor. Yeah.
Okay.
Monett Main Street is, I believe, a very good partner. Whenever they first brought this to you all, I think they had raised around $25,000 to $30,000 in pledges. That's now up to $40,000 in pledges, which would be their part. So, but our city attorney is the one that drafted the public service agreement. She fully understands what we're trying to do here and what we're trying to accomplish.
Do we have that on the board, Mr. Gaspar? Is that what we're looking at?
I'm not controlling that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ricky is.
Okay. So is this the addition?
Yeah, this is the
latest.
ordinance.
There's no proposals, no quotes in it or anything. It's just the agreement with the amounts.
They give 40,000, we go up to 60,000.
That's correct.
I think an estimate is around 80, if I recall.
Yes.
Yeah, the prefabricated, they're gonna give us the actual roof, and we're into the, putting it in place is what the big cost is.
Yes, the cost is the specialty welder, infrastructure welder, and the cranes, 2 cranes necessary.
Okay.
So are we commenting now or after the second reading?
I would do a second reading and then make comments.
Okay.
Have any motion to a second reading?
I made a motion to do a second reading. Ordinance number 9135.
Yep, now second.
Call the roll.
Mayor Randy Burke.
Yes.
Commissioner King Caspar.
Aye.
Commissioner Darren DeVito.
Aye.
Okay. Go ahead.
Any public comments?
Any public comments on that? This is about replacing the roof on the Freedom Silo.
Yep. Do I have?
You go first. I have the floor.
Okay.
Thank you.
So during the last workshop, I vocalized some opposition to this matter. If there was some discussion in the past that provided options and bids, which I have overlooked, then that would be on me, and I would have nothing further to say. But I'm not certain there was. I feel like it always has been told to me that the Monett Main Street organization was going to fix it. Now the conversation shifted because for many years, Monett Main Street has not been able to get the project done. Almost a year ago, they came to us asking for more funds to help them raise funds. We lived up to our end of the bargain, they have not. The city's taxpayers gave the Monett Main Street organization $25,000 annually. We gave them an additional $25,000, and now we're on the verge of paying out an additional $60,000 to fix a roof that we seemingly had no input to its design, structure, materials, vendors, or cost. But we are being asked to pay for it. That's $110,000 over the last 12 months, give or take. What else could $110,000 do for us? The ordinance is worded that the city agrees to pay up to $60,000. Who's responsible for any cost overruns? If what I have said wasn't contrarian enough, I read much about tourism, and I personally don't see many tourists visiting the site. Maybe they do. I hope to be wrong, but I hope when they do visit, they are helping our local economy to help pay for this project.
Can I speak to some of those?
Sure. Go ahead.
I believe the vendors that were selected reviewed this with our city attorney, and really these are sole source providers because yes, there's other crane companies, but this is a heavy lift to get up to the silo. So sole source enables you to look for a specialty vendor. I think that's what Ozark Crane provides for us. Certainly the welder is very specialized. This is a high level, not just the skill set, but you're actually 75 feet in the air. Also, there's wood inside that structure, and so you're welding on a structure that has wood inside of it, so you want to make sure that all precautions are taken care of. So I don't have an issue with providing sole outsourcing that work because it's so specialized. The other thing, actually, Commissioner Gaspar, you had a very good question in our work session, and that was, is it city property, and what would we do with city property if we don't put this roof on? So I thought it was an excellent question. It is city property, and there are options since it's city property. If it continues to deteriorate, just like the barn that was in North Park, we would need to take it down. There might be a cheaper fix, possibly, but we've already sourced out, or we've found a source to do the specialized services, and there's been donations of material that will ensure that this, and I use iconic because whenever I see national publications that say this is somewhere to go in Monett, I do believe that's a draw. I believe there's a real opportunity in Monett when you have 1 million visitors going to Roaring River. Some of those folks are going to come through here. Now, it's the burden for the city to make sure that they know that we have the Freedom Silo and that it's a good place to stop. The other thing is, I've never seen the Freedom Silo lit up, but everybody that I talk to says when you put the lights back on it, you'll even draw more people. So it's one of those projects that I believe, as staff, that it's worthy to pursue. Is it the perfect way to pursue this project? No, but it's one of those projects that's been on the books for a number of years, and if we don't complete this project now for $80,000, I guarantee you next year it'll be more expensive, and the next year will be more. So I hope that answers some of those questions. And then the last part is we entered into a public service agreement with Monett Main Street for $25,000 worth of seed money for grants. If we received additional information that grants were actually secured, there would be an additional $25,000. So depending on the vote tonight, well, actually it doesn't depend on the vote tonight, I'll be contacting Monett Main Street. That public service agreement, the first one, the original one, is now void because the deadlines have passed and it's no longer in service.
We did give them 25,000.
Correct.
In addition to the contractual 25,000.
That's correct. There's an original 25,000.
Yeah.
Then we entered into a public service agreement for 50,000, and we made one $25,000 payment. Yep.
So, to your point about the specialty of the welder, am I correct in my belief that that welder, the selection of that welder then determines the donation of the material? If that welder was not to be selected, the donation would not have been made.
I think the donation, my understanding is, this is my understanding, that the donation actually came first. And the welder, who, yes, is related to the individual that donated the material, this is what he does for a living. He erects large steel buildings, and I don't know the technical term, but it's elevated welding.
Sure.
Yeah.
I understand.
And so, one donated material, the other said, I'll do it for a
Yeah.
price.
And the cupola at the top, last time we talked, that was not in the plan. Is it now in the new plan?
It is, and it's, the person that donated the material is gonna finish that aspect. That's a pretty easy part of this structure, the doghouse on the very top. The main thing was getting the curvatures of the material, that there's a curve to that roof, and that's what he had to work through.
And last point, we're entering this agreement with Monett Main Street. It's our property, but they're fixing it.
We're in a public service agreement between two entities, the city and Monett Main Street, to make improvements on city property.
I guess I do have one more question. The contract did not state anything about cost overruns. So we're paying up to, not to exceed 60,000. If the project exceeds that level, I'm assuming it's on Monett Main Street to come up with the difference.
That's not in the agreement. I would say we put a work stop on the project and come back to council and say we've got an overrun. In construction terms, it's a change order, and you all have the right to either approve a change order or to leave construction as is if it's in a stable condition.
Do we need another
I
structure?
have nothing else.
I'm thinking, do we have another structural inspection to verify that as is, only roof is to be replaced, no other manufacturing of any other tower besides the roof?
My understanding is it's been inspected in the past, whenever the roof is completed. If this is passed and it's completed, the city will do another inspection by certified engineer.
Does it have to be manufactured in the exact same capacity as what's on top of the roof now?
That's what's being donated. So.
Yeah, I don't want to take that away, right?
Yeah, he took the original dialogue of this was to take the structure that is up there now and duplicate it, replicate it, and that's what has been done.
As donations are coming in currently on this from Main Street, which brought the total up to 38, I believe is the actual number where we're sitting.
40 is what's in the packet.
Yeah, 40 is in the packet, but anyway, is the donation train going to stop at Main Street, or going to keep collecting and paying us?
That's a Monett Main Street question. I haven't solicited any of those funds. It's illegal for me to solicit as a city. So my assumption would be that they're going to continue to solicit funds.
They are going to continue to solicit funds.
That is my assumption. That's not my answer.
Since this is part of it now as a city project, does the city have to follow proper steps as far as like bidding or anything like that in the process of collecting and doing the work?
That's where we were talking about this, the sole source. There is a sole source here, and I believe it qualifies for a sole source. You've got a specialty welder, CDI, that you just don't have common welders that do this. Normally they're working on bridges or high rises and multiple story. So this bid that we have is a sole source bid that we would pursue. Same as the cranes.
All right, public comment?
Mike Gervais, I'm a board member from Monett Main Street, and I'd like to speak on a couple of points here. Commissioner Gaspar, you mentioned Monett Main Street's failure in this regard. I would like to point out that this is, as you pointed out, a city asset that Monett Main Street has raised more than $40,000 to repair. That's not including the donation of the structure, which I believe is an additional $27,000. I'd also like to point out that Monett Main Street did not choose the steel structure to go as a roof on the Freedom Silo. The city has mandated that that structure be steel. When this project was originally proposed, it would have been made out of the same material as the existing roof. The city wanted something more permanent, more lasting to go up there to reduce future maintenance costs. That's how we landed on the steel structure, and now these costs to erect it. So while Monett Main Street did set out with the goal to cover the entire cost and handle this project for the city, it has fallen short, but I would hesitate to call it a failure. I think being able to contribute more than $40,000 to this project for the city is a huge success.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Blake.
Any other comments from the audience, from the commission? Well, I move we approve ordinance 9135. What's the second reading?
We did the second reading.
Okay.
I'll second.
Call the roll.
Mayor Raineyberg,
Yes.
Commissioner King Gaspar,
Aye.
Commissioner Darren DeVito,
Aye.
Any motions on the first reading of 9136?
This is a resolution that we
Sorry,
need to...
resolution.
Yeah, that we need to make sure the attorney speaks to.
So this resolution would approve the 353 board members, and since the ordinance will be voted on February 26th, I would recommend just if you want to approve, a motion to approve contingent on the approval of the 353 redevelopment plan also.
We're voting on the 5-name number board, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Contingent on passage of 353 on the 26th.
Yes.
Correct, okay. And that's the 5 names up there?
Yes.
Yeah, and I can speak to those names if that's
Go ahead.
appropriate.
Sure, go
Okay.
ahead.
Jim Randall is an attorney downtown. Jim also served on the Chapter 353 committee that established the guidelines. Ada Noriega, she serves as the bank manager for Arvest downtown Broadway. She also served on the Chapter 353 committee to establish the guidelines. Scott Thrasher is an insurance agent that has his offices on Broadway. Elsa Porez is she's a realtor, but she has connections within the Latino community and has an interest in development downtown. And then Tammy Graham served at Co-work Collective. She still has connections there, but she understands downtown. She is a citizen here in Monett and has a desire to serve her community.
Okay, I move that we approve Resolution 9136 contingent on approval at 3:53 on the 26th February working meeting. Do I have any seconds?
I'll second.
Call the roll.
Mayor Rainey,
Yes.
Commissioner King Gaspar,
Aye.
Commissioner Darren DeVina.
Aye.
Okay, Mick, if you take us through the names.
Yes, this bill number 9137 is the airport commission, now that the ordinance has passed. This would be those that serve on that commission, all representing various sectors of our community and our counties. Commissioner Gaspar has been appointed by City Council to serve as the city commissioner. The change here would be not only now is he attending the meetings, but he's actually sitting on the commission. Brian Hunter, he represents the industrial commercial. Brian was on the former airport advisory board, so he's a returning member. Mark Noriega serves also with the Monett Economic Development Committee. So Mark is the liaison between the EDC and the airport, because the airport is very vital to economic development. Will Boswell, he flies out of Monett Regional Airport. They've got a couple of planes housed out there, so he serves as the tenant. Madeline Miller, she is part of a Monett financial institution. Madeline was here tonight. And then Gary Schwab, did I say that right? Schad. Gary Schad is a Berry County Commissioner, and he was appointed by the Berry County Commissioners to represent them. And then John Millsap, he is not a county commissioner. However, he was appointed by the Lawrence County Commissioners to serve on this commission and has their authority to answer for Lawrence County.
You don't believe he is a pilot?
He's a pilot, former businessman. He's nearing retirement, yeah. But he does fly in and out of Monett Airport.
Yeah.
Have any motions on Resolution 9137?
I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 9137.
I'll second.
Call the roll.
I have a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. During the work session, I also objected to an item involving this matter. This objection involved the appointment of a person filling the role of tenant in good standing at the airport. I do not personally know the individual, therefore this is not a character assassination, but they are not a tenant. They are a relative of a tenant. We recently created this new charter and we are seemingly already violating it. It sends the wrong message to the other actual tenants of the airport and the community. And for me, it's just a matter of trust.
So, may I address it?
Go ahead.
Okay. The tenant is purchasing the plane that resides at Monett Airport. He doesn't pay the lease for the space. If that is a technicality that the council doesn't want to pursue, certainly I would stand behind that. But this is the individual that flies in and out. He's purchasing both planes that are at the Monett Airport. That's all I have to say.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But the document says a tenant. And the definition of a tenant is the one who's contractually obligated for the rental of that hangar, not aircraft or anything like that.
Well, the intent is to get someone out there who has experience, get the tenant's experience and bring that to the board.
Again, my objection is not about the individual.
Well, it's still about the tenant, though, but you're just, okay, I've got a motion and a seconded motion. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Rainey,
Yes.
Commissioner King Gaspar,
Abstain.
Commissioner Darren DeVina.
Aye.
All right, we're going to move on to informational items. Mickey, go ahead. We've got your report.
Yeah, I'm not going to read through my report, but I do want to point out a couple of things that are really exciting in our city, and I think these are good things that are happening. I wish I would have shared this at the State of the City. but our police department will be introducing 2 K-9 units. It's pretty unusual for a police department to have 1 K-9 unit, but Chief Dowd has done a good job, and those dogs are to arrive
Next month.
next month. Those dogs are arriving next month, so we're very excited about that. You'll be hearing more about that.
Thanks, Chief.
Yep. We had an outstanding officer celebrate his retirement today, Jay Jastel. I don't know anybody in town that doesn't know Jay. He's gonna be missed, but he gets to move to Texas and join his family down there. So we're very excited for that and for him. Tomorrow, we have our groundbreaking. I'm not sure when the last time the city did a groundbreaking. Maybe they've done a lot, but we've got 8 shovels ready to go tomorrow, and we're groundbreaking for the mega playground, ADA approved, there at South Park, 11 a.m. Very excited about that. And then we did finalize today, we're gonna do the groundbreaking for the dog park on March 27th at 11 a.m. And again, all of these amenities are good for our city and bring about good things. We had our first meeting with Freedom and Fireworks, and city staff was there. I appreciate the city staff that was there. We had public safety represented, utilities, parks, myself. We all talked about the opportunity that Freedom and Fireworks is going to bring to Monett this year because of the 250th anniversary. They're expecting 10 to 12,000 people at the event. So we're very excited about Freedom and Fireworks, and we're very proud to partner with the Chamber of Commerce here in Monett, and that is my report.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mickey, monthly financial report, anything to add?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I thought you were going to.
And I can do that. Commissioner Endovino and I, we met with our finance director today. We meet at 4 o'clock just to kind of see if there's any questions about any of the reports, not only in the packet, but about anything that we might need to clarify. We met and had a good meeting. I do want to announce that the auditor will be here on February 17th as scheduled with the auditor. Did I say that wrong?
No, you're right. No, I was looking at Sandra because that's never a fun time for finance people.
Yeah, I'm not going to turn around and look at it. They're scheduled to be here February 17th. All the finances were reviewed, and the finances are in your packet. And I appreciate Commissioner Endovino coming in an hour early and walking through everything with us.
But you're still not thunder. That's what I was gonna say. We're working, we got the November in the packet. All the departments are in the packet for review, so if you don't have it, a review, download the packet, you'll see it. Your department is in it, as is all. And November 2025 is the current month finalized in the packet. So that's it.
All right, do we have any motions to go into closed session?
Thank you. That's your fun. Okay, everyone. We are going to move into closed session. The council will convene in the closed session pursuant to section 610.021, revised statute of Missouri subsections 3 and 13 to discuss personal matters. Attendees are city administrator, city clerk, economic development head, and then we're going to have to meet with the 2 chiefs from the police and fire department and emergency management to the main closed session.
Well, we won't meet with you all at once, we'll call you in, okay? All right, so I'll take that as a motion to go into closed session, and I'll second the motion. Please call the roll.
Mayor Raineyberg.
Yes.
Commissioner King Gaspar.
Aye.
Commissioner Darren Devaney.
All right.
All right.
We'll go